Child hunger and food insecurity continue to pose significant challenges in North Carolina, affecting a large number of children. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 1 in 6 children across the state experience food insecurity, and in rural areas, that number rises to 1 in 3 children.
So food insecurity could be that child who simply is having a growling tummy and doesn't feel well and probably has a headache and certainly can't focus. It also, in many cases, looks like child who struggle with their weight because they have access to more affordable foods, which typically tend to be those that are less healthy.
Andrew Hurrell from the Carolina Hunger Initiative says federally funded programs were helpful during the pandemic to step up and provide new resources and chances to help families in need. But the ending of the pandemic is not the end of food insecurity.
The current state of child hunger and need is a little worse because we're seeing those programs drop off and end on an emergency level. At the same time, we're seeing families deal with inflation.
As of now, schools are back to the traditional free and reduced price model. This means they must verify families' eligibility status before providing assistance. This process involves checking the household income and family size to determine if a student qualifies for free or reduced price meals.
There are more restrictions in place, and it's one of the features of like the way that our federal government has set up child nutrition services across schools. I think it needs a major overhaul.
In the School Meals for All NC campaign, Baker and her colleagues are advocating for free school meals to every child in every public school at no cost to their families.
In our public schools in North Carolina, that more than 60% of the children are eligible for free and reduced price meals. So those numbers flopped a long time ago, that the majority of those kids need that food assistance. And that is simply of those who have completed that onerous task of doing all of that paperwork.
Cole says Child Nutrition Services is one of the few entities that doesn't receive its budget in advance. Instead, they receive reimbursement in the following year. He agrees with the regulation coming back in place. It adds a barrier and additional tasks for families to declare food assistance.
There's a need to for the federal government and governmental agencies to look at how is child nutrition funded in our country, and do we have a process in which child nutrition is easily accessible, or do we make it this very muddled process full of paperwork and regulations that almost works to limit the way we can distribute food across, to all families and students who may have needs.
Experts say food insecurity amongst children isn't some myth or a problem that only affects schools. It is actually a public health issue that North Carolina and the nation is dealing with. In Chapel Hill, I'm Charlotte Zhao.